Today we're going to take a look at one of the pre-made themes available for the DNN market, and this one goes by the name of Minis. It's created by DNNGo, and the reason I want to dig into this one is because it says it will create great performance in Google, and it has some awesome features which makes content editing much easier. So it will be installed like any other theme, so basically like an extension, and there is some things you need to do first. Here on the DNNGo documentation site, it has a page all about the content builder that is part of this theme, and it says, well, you need to unzip the folders that you purchased, and then the folder content builder needs to be uploaded to the portal's default directory. So here is FileZilla, and here is the portals/default, and I unzipped the package. So I can now upload this to the appropriate folder. This has been done, so time for the next step. This is a very simple website for some community in my neighborhood. So the next thing for this is to install the theme. So we go to extensions. First thing you need to do is to install the theme plugin, which installs just as any other module. And the next one is to install the theme itself. Okay, now this has been done. So the theme has been installed, the theme plugin has been installed, and the content builder is already in place. For this one, I will be needing to register the license with the DNNGo website. So I now took care of the authorization, and the theme has now a license. So now I'm gonna be able to work with that. There are some buttons here. So there's theme options and page options, and you can even import pages, which is pretty easy to do. This is the theme plugin, and one of the major disadvantages of older themes is that there are a whole lot of layouts and a whole lot of content layouts and footer layouts. And the great thing about this one is that you can just delete as many as you want. So if you feel like it's just too much, take out what you don't want, and you can always edit the default one. Same goes for content layouts, because if I go in edit mode for this one, you can see there's a whole bunch of rows, and if you feel like, well, I'm never going to use the 7-pane, 5-pane grid, you can just delete that one and save it. And of course, here you can do the same with the header layouts. So if you want something different, maybe you don't want a vertical separator line, you can just delete that, save, and it's all been taken care of. By the way, one of the great things as well is that there's a mobile layout as well. And it's very easy if you decide that a mobile menu should be on the left, which has become quite popular. So the search is on the right. Now it's done. Now onto the theme options. So here is defined which header is used, which content layout is used, which footer layout is used. So this is where the magic happens. And of course, next thing is to have your design in place. So there's a whole bunch of options with all kinds of colors you can choose from, and you can do anything you want without having to worry about knowing CSS or stuff like that. So here are the headers, which you can manipulate, and there's even the possibility for a custom font family. So here it says inherit, but you can always derive from that. So you can now see that the font color has been adjusted and some small stuff. But of course, one of the big things we do not want is this big header thing here. And there's the page title. So if we just disable the page title, and after reload, you can see that now the page title has been removed. Now, on to the next, because I noticed that every reload has some weird preloader, and I want to get rid of that. So there's the loading style. Just disable that one, update again. And if I now refresh after it has been stored like that, I should not be having that green preloader. So that's been taken care of as well. Now, one of the things that is by default activated is this one. So we have some contact info, and there is an email link and Facebook options. This resides under the fixed widget. So if you don't want it, just deactivate it. If you want something, so here you can have your Facebook URL, but you can also say, well, here's this one, and copy it in the phone URL as well. So here it is. So if we now reload this, the widget should be adjusted. And yes, it is. Okay, so we have some basics here. One of the major things that is new in this theme is the content builder. The way this works is you add the module content builder to a page. Now notice that we got an extra bar here on the left hand side, and this allows us to add blocks or even larger blocks with default content. So here it is, and let's have some more space for that. Yeah, I'll just reload and add the snippet again. So here's the content builder, and because it's really no work at all. Now, what I did not do last time, but I can do now, is save this. And here's where the fun part starts, because if I just click on that, this is how easy it is. Save again, and the text has been edited. So there are no postbacks, no refreshes, it's just this. I can do this very easily and hit the save button. Now, same goes, of course, for this piece, and save that. Now, one of the first things you want to do is change the background image. There's this button here, and there's a very easy upload. So I just uploaded some Star Wars picture here, click on set image, and right from the get-go, here it is. And as you can see, it is a little bit harder to read this. So what you actually want to do is have a little layer to make the text more visible. And there's the settings, and we can just add a layer black, and adjust the transparency. So now this is much more visible. And if you noticed, there were some things like the Ken Burns effect, which will zoom in slightly. Or if you think, I don't want that, I don't want the Ken Burns effect, but I want parallax. It's just a matter of clicks as well. So I now save this and we will see that there's a parallax. So that's very easy to do. Now there are several ways to move on. So for instance, if you want to add a button here, you can of course always go to the code. Here it is. And you can add your own code if you like. Well, what you can also do is add an element. And the elements, here's a button, which is pretty neat and will allow adjusting as you want exactly how. Read further, for instance, and just add URL. And save it. So all the styling is derived from the overall theme that you adjusted. So you can add several elements here. I could choose from a number of elements, and here there's the full version of everything. There's pricing and theme, and of course not all will be applicable to this situation, because if you want to have your pricing, you want to have more space, so you add a section. And we can always here choose from one of the many examples. So for instance, here's progress bar and here's your default content. And if you think, oh no, that's not it, just remove the section and you can continue with what you were doing. Now if you want to utilize more granular way, or granular approach, you can start by adding a section. So you can start with a total empty layout. And here it says empty layout, click to add content. And here we can, for instance, add a paragraph or something like this. Well, let's go with the theme. So you can really easy build your page from here. And one of the things we also want is easier editing of some special content. So for this example, I added a progress bar, and as you can see, there is some extra icon here. And if I click on this one, you can see that there's here JavaScript, JSON, C#, Bootstrap, and we can collapse these. So if I want to remove the C#, for instance, that's now gone, and maybe I want to change this to React, and I think, well, this should be 90, and here it is. So that's really easy to adjust. So this is one of the features that's really cool to be able to edit as a non-dev. Now, one of the things you want is consistency. So if you feel like every page should have a header that is based on this one, so there's the same lead text, there's the same button, there's the same work with parallax and photo, you can save this one. You can save a section. Let's call this header section. Now what it does here is it will reside under custom. So let's say I first want to save this. So here it is. We go to another page, and in order to utilize the content builder, we need to add it again. So I added the content builder module. So all I have to do is go to custom and apply this one. So that was easy. Now it's good to know that this is in fact a copy. It's just some sample demo. So if I change this, it will not impact the same header on the home page. So if I just delete this, we can save it, and if we go back to home, you will see that the banner is not touched. Here it is. Pretty cool stuff. So one more thing I'd like to show you is what if I want to easy copy images. So let's choose an image box. So here it is. And this, because it's right now, it's just above the progress bar. And as you can see, it's quite tight. So there's not a lot of space, and there's a big difference between creating a new section and then adding the content, or adding the content within a section. So, but we can easily create something that is below the progress bars, and we might even add some spacing later on. But what I wanted to show you, if I select an image, there's the option to copy this, and as you can see, the theme will take care of a lot of stuff. So it will automatically say, well, it's not 3 images anymore, it's 4 images. So I will find the optimized width per image, and this stays correct even on mobile. So if I want to add more space between the progress bar and these images, I can just click the image, and here's something related to the row. Here it is, and I can add, because here I can add an element. So if I want to have space just related to this image, I choose the plus element, but I want to add a space in the row. So here it is. Now there's a spacer underneath this one, and I can just simply reorder this, and now I have the spacer. If I want to adjust that, I can just increase or decrease the spacer to my liking. Now, as you may have seen, there are some more icons here. So there's always the option to go in code if you like, and there's quite a bit of styling here. But if you, according to DNNGo, it is possible to have almost 100 score on Google PageSpeed. To be frank, I did not succeed that, but there's a whole bunch of stuff involved, as you might very well know. So the fact that it can be done is for me a challenge to see how far I can get. But another option is section settings. So often you will find yourself in a position where the image is not really suitable for the space. So you can just adjust the height and then save a lot of room. And of course, if the image is not, you might want to change the image as well. So here's the image, and you can now change the position to what you find is suitable. So there's a combination of settings of the section and settings of the image. Now let's move to the global settings of the theme, because there are some interesting options as well. So here it is. The default font resides under global settings, which makes sense, of course. So in the theme options, you can always choose to derive from that, but here is your default font. And the interesting things are stuff like enable compression. And here's some other compression for JavaScript CSS. But the media library compression will also allow you to serve modern images like WebP. And of course, that needs to be registered in your web config as well. Now, in order to register the support of WebP, you go to config manager, go to the web config, and you need to find the part where you register, like here, this. So what you need to add here is in the part of static content is to add this part, the MIME type. Copy that one. So I copy this in the web config and save. Usually I do changes in the web config in a separate file, but this one is really easy, so this will be okay. So now for more custom stuff. There are some buttons very interesting. Here it is about HTML, which is about the page, and maybe even more interesting stuff is here, which is CSS. Now the reason this is interesting is because it only loads the CSS that has been used on this page. So if you just want to adjust the progress bar, or adjust, well, here it is, about an info box, you just hit this button and you can manipulate CSS by yourself. So if we just, here's the progress bar 1, and it's okay, then you can instantly see that I adjusted the font size of the percentage. So that makes it really manageable as well. Well, for now, I think there's quite some interesting stuff here. I hope I have showed you that it is easy for editors to work with, but it also allows you to be in charge of code and speed as well.